Okay, so it has been a little bit since I recorded, as in I didn't really record last week because I didn't really have a topic to record. So yeah, I'm here now. We're recording this, and the topic that I'm going to discuss, or that I want to cover, is called the 9 tipping points in climate change. Let's get started. So a journal published in Nature has identified 9 different tipping points in the climate. And these are primarily brought about by the rate at which we are changing the environment is not helping. It's not adapting fast enough. These tipping points are currently affecting the Amazon rainforest, as well as the Antarctic and Greenland, which are currently undergoing rapid changes frequently at unprecedented rates than predicted in previous models. The lead author, Tim Lenton, has stated, "A decade ago we identified 9 climate tipping points in the Earth's system. Now we see evidence that over half of them have been activated." This is already what we're seeing at roughly 1 degree Celsius. Now the Paris Agreement has set up a threshold of between 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius. At the rate that we're going, that threshold is going to be kind of pointless. The research illustrates that it's not just anthropogenic or human-induced climate change we need to worry about. It's actually the effects at which the Earth will self-amplify global temperatures and climate chemicals in the atmosphere. The 9 active tipping points that the researchers have discovered or identified are as follows. I'm not going to remember all of them. The Arctic sea ice, Greenland ice sheets, boreal forest, permafrost, Atlantic meridional overturning circulation, Amazon rainforest, warm water corals, West Atlantic ice sheets, and parts of East Antarctica. Wild. Recent research has shown that the decrease in the Antarctica ice sheets is an almost instantaneous response. This correlates towards the ice flow as well as the overall mass loss in the area. In fact, researcher Goodmanson has stated, "One of the most important lessons from the study is that the impact is felt without any delay." What he means here is that ultimately the sea levels will rise at almost an instantaneous rate, quote unquote. You're not going to see it instantly, but you will see it a lot quicker than what is predicted, meaning that the areas that are going to get hit are probably not going to have enough time to evacuate. There's going to be tons of money in damages. This study then carries over towards another study which looks at the effects of rapid sea level rise on reef systems. The paper identified that in the past, reef systems were able to adapt or overcome rapid sea rise. This is because they were met with a delicate and intricate balance within the ecosystems. What they've identified is that these ecosystems are now coming under threat from anthropogenic or human-induced climate change, causing shifts in recovery periods and how long it takes for these ecosystems to recover from, I guess you could call them, extreme events. Now what's been identified is that the 3 main tipping point events that will cause probably the most damage to the environment are 1, the loss in rainforests, the loss in boreal forests, and the loss or rapid loss in permafrost. This is because these 3 areas are responsible for taking up large, excessive amounts of CO2 from the atmosphere. If you don't know what the effects of carbon dioxide are on the atmosphere or carbon in general, I'll chuck a link down below. I've also spoken about it in several videos. I'll just quickly say that it helps with the increase in global temperatures. If these areas become lost or destroyed or rapidly removed, then the carbon that they lock up will then be released back into the atmosphere in excessive amounts. Now you can argue the fact that these areas, yes, over time, die out, release carbon into the atmosphere. I know that. Most people know that. The problem here is that global temperatures are rising rather quickly. Areas are becoming drier, faster, for longer. Rain cycles are changing within the climate. This means that these areas are dying out faster than what the Earth can adapt to. There's the issue. So all of this is primarily happening because of anthropogenic causes. Bit of a shocker. This is because we are raising temperatures, we are altering the environment a lot quicker than what we have predicted, meaning global temperature increases as well as global climate chemistry. What? This changing or shifting in climate cycles or environmental conditions will cause the planet or the environment to go into a self-reinforcing feedback loop in the carbon cycle. What this means is that in this carbon cycle that's self-reinforcing, we're adding into it more than it can handle, and therefore it's constantly going to keep growing. And what this means is that this constant growth is going to affect the entire planet, forcing it into a hot state. Now this hot state, or hothouse climate, or hothouse Earth, is a theorized event. It's just really based on theory. But I figured it's quite important to talk about because it's quite interesting, because it may happen. It's happened once. Here's the example. A hothouse Earth or a hothouse climate is a result of runaway greenhouse gases, meaning that these greenhouse gases are constantly being released and we can't get rid of them. It's uncontrolled. This has happened on Venus. It's the reason why it's uninhabitable. It's a gas planet. It's greenhouse gases everywhere. Now, although this is theorized, it may not happen, probably won't, but at the rate we're going, scientists are saying that, or the models state, that a runaway greenhouse gas climate, although maybe not as severe as Venus, has the potential to occur. So what exactly can we do? You know, it's all doom and gloom. We've got 9 climate tipping points that we're currently being thrown towards. We've got potential runaway greenhouse gas emissions. We've got the climate basically going into crisis because we can't get our act together. What can we do? I'm going to be 100% honest with you. There's nothing much we can do at this point besides slow down what we're doing. We're not going to be able to decrease the amount of, or let me rephrase that. We're not going to be able to stop what we're doing because the damage has been done. What we can do is try to mitigate the amount of damage that we are currently doing so that in the future we don't stuff ourselves over. Okay, we don't destroy the future. What the study states is that what we can do is slow down the emissions that we are producing, allowing for low-lying areas to remove themselves or move further inland or move away from coastal ecosystems faster. It'll give them time. It'll allow them to move. However, if we continue on this path, then that's probably not going to happen. These tipping points are occurring earlier than previous predicted records. And what the study urges is that we get our act together. I'm paraphrasing. We get our act together and we just try to mitigate the amount that we are emitting. Sounds simple. Put into practice, probably not as simple as it sounds. That's the video. It was a quick one. Actually, I don't know how I say that for everything, but it turns out to not be quick. It seemed quick for me. This is because the research is kind of scattered, and it's a very controversial topic to talk about. Usually anything to do with the climate, anything to do with that grey area about anthropogenic or human-induced climate change and global warming is a very touchy grey area. So finding a lot of the research was very difficult, which is why I didn't do a video last week. It was very hard. But the research is there, the theories are there, the results are there. It's not looking good. The best thing we can do is mitigate the amount of, I guess, excess CO2 or excess greenhouse gases we are pumping into the atmosphere, and try our best to survive. As dark as that sounds, I don't want to end on that note. So, I believe we can do it. I believe we can make that happen. We just have to work as a collective, work as a whole to get this thing up and running. But that being that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I will see you all for another video next week. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe down below. Make sure you educate, don't eradicate, all that jazzy stuff. Check out Keep Class down below. Awesome organization. And yeah, I'll chuck some links down below if you want to read about this. And you have a good day. I'll see you next week.